they're keen to actually sort of see, where you work and the type of thing you're currently doing, because usually I'm sort of doing a job when they're wanting something else to start. So they're keen to sort of see what you're doing. I don't tend to have sort of people come down and work with me. There's sort of health and safety sort of issue with that. I have been asked to sort of do apprenticeships and things like that with people. I have sort of an arrangement whereby kids get work experience and things like that. And I have been asked by people up in the village if I do work experience with their children. The problem comes is that, as you see, it's sort of not exactly set up as a health and safety environment, and it would be better if it was. So that you could actually sort of do that type of thing, because I'm quite keen to do it and have schools come down and do things like that. But
you would be keen to do that?
Yeah, I would be keen to do that.
It's not possible to do that here.
It's not really possible to do that. I mean, there are too many other things going on. You need a sort of dedicated space for doing that.
I suppose so, yeah. There's a difference, of course, between having one person over and 5 or so.
Yeah,
because you can't keep an eye on 5 people.
Yeah, on the next job I will have a client who will come down. It's actually for the job which I'll be working up the hill. So it's actually a sort of series of carvings around a tree post, which I'm doing for her. But she wants to have a bit of sort of experience of actually doing that carving. Now, what I'll probably do is the week before we actually start work on that is I'll bring her down here and I'll give her a sort of off-cut of wood and sort of nail it down to the bench someplace, and then sort of go through a process of, these are the sort of techniques you should be looking at, and you've got to look at grain and this sort of thing, and sort of just give her a basic outline of how these things sort of work, and then she can actually sort of contribute to doing sort of pieces actually on the finished artwork, because she's very keen that she actually have that sort of contact with it. Not all of my clients are. No. My clients just say, "Oh, it's lovely to see it sort of in process." And I mean, these pieces which I'm doing at the moment are actually
the animals.
Yeah, I do a demonstration at the forestry section of the Royal Cornwall Show, and it's just me carving. Last year I was actually carving the sign for the forestry section. I was actually commissioned by them to carve that sign. But this year I think I may be commissioned to carve a bench, but it's always nice to sort of have other pieces of work around. So these pieces are actually sort of being prepared, ready for that.
So you say you do a demonstration. Does that mean you bring the pieces there and you carve them
in position? So
and then there's visitors around.
Oh yes, I mean it's a sort of big sort of parade ring really. So there's a guy who does sort of just purely chainsaw carving. He chainsaw carves mushrooms and bears and things like that. And then I'm carving. As I say, last year I carved the forestry sign, so it's a large piece of lettering which I was doing in oak leaves and acorns and things like that tied around it. I mean, it's sort of a bit like this, but on a larger scale. I mean, it was actually, I think the log was about 15, 20 foot long or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But quite a large piece, so all the leaves were sort of this sort of size. And it's just to be seen sort of from a distance. So I was carving that, so people coming up and sort of leaning over the fence and, what type of wood is that? And all the various sort of questions you get asked, at these sort of events, and what can I see your chisels and that sort of thing.
Do you like that kind of
Yeah, I find it quite amusing. I like handing on that sort of bit of information, it's quite good fun. I mean, I was on television while I was doing some of the carving, and a number of clients have sort of seen me subsequently, have said, "Oh, I saw you on the television when you were doing the thing for the Royal Cornwall Show," or "I saw you in the Western Morning News." So although you don't maybe get a sort of a direct sort of contact, effectively you sort of your profile is raised enough that people sort of take note of it.
You have to be visible, isn't it? Otherwise you can't.
I mean, nobody's going to sort of sell it for you. So it's effectively, it's a matter of sort of keeping your profile up. I mean, we put work into galleries and things like this, and after this has gone up to Royal Cornwall Show, then this will probably go on to the Mythic Garden, because they've already expressed an interest in taking some work. I mean, they're already going to take that one, the pineapple, which is actually work which I had demonstrating for last Royal Cornwall Show. But I sort of so that's going off to the Mythic Garden soon, and then after Royal Cornwall Show this year, then if these haven't sold, then they will go on to the Mythic Garden as well. So we've sort of put stuff into galleries as well. It's not just that sort of. It's not all about sort of getting TV coverage or newspaper coverage to do our advertising. So, we put stuff into galleries as well.